And hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan. Once again, bringing you my thoughts and review for last night's episode of The Flash, Season 7, Episode 7. And oh boy, there's a lot to talk about here, so brace yourselves. This episode was a little wild and very, very cool. So, where do I begin? Okay, so let me start with the stuff with Barry, because his was very small and very short. He wasn't really in this episode that much, because this episode really focuses on Killer Frost, and played by Danielle Panabaker. And so I'll start with the stuff with Barry. Barry's finally back in business, doing his job, being the Flash also, but he has a little problem with the Speed Force. Not that he can't use it. It's basically the fact that the Speed Force reminds him of his mother, Nora Allen, and she's basically his walk-in power supply. Yeah. So basically, she has to be on top of him every 5 seconds. Iris. We all love Iris, and she's just trying to have like a mother-in-law daughter relationship with whatever she can. Obviously, she's never gonna meet Nora for real, but the Speed Force pretending to be looking like Nora is the closest she's gonna have to a relationship with her. So she brings her to the house. Everything looks fine. But yet Barry is at that point where he's like, can't consider the Speed Force to be my mother because my mother's gone. So that's basically what it. And also his powers pretty much get supercharged and hard to control. I mean, he's super fast. Obviously, we all know he's the Flash. But when Nora's around or the Speed Force is around, his powers go into overdrive, and it's actually pretty cool. There's a moment where he's actually like doing his job and this Central City Police Department, which, by the way, finally he's back doing police work, because honestly I feel like I forgot he even had that job. But seriously, he just, 1 minute he's doing his job and next minute he's doing like 50 moments at once. It was actually pretty cool to see that. But now let's get to the real stuff. The real stuff about this episode, and it was basically more about Killer Frost of being framed for a crime that she did not commit. Now we got this new policewoman showing up, or district woman, or whatever you want to call her. She's like more in charge than Joe, and then she's basically Joe's boss. And she wants to get an arrest warrant for Killer Frost. Now Barry and the team, they find a dead body in the crime scene. A person got pretty much disintegrated by ice, and they immediately think it's Frost. Now the team does not think that's Frost. They all know it's not Frost. But this woman who's now in charge of the police department, who's in charge of Joe, because he's the captain, she heavily believes that it's Frost, and then Frost is public enemy number one again. Well, what does Frost do? Instead of going back and being the bad guy, no, she decides she's going to go find out who is basically framing her, which leads us to this guy at a bar, very attractive looking guy, I guess. And then you see Killer Frost, I guess, experience kind of like having a crush, not really, but just being a regular woman doing her thing, being independent. And it leads her to this bar. She meets this guy. Then there's basically an arrest warrant with an award if anybody had information or capture Killer Frost. And of course, bar people, they're just gonna turn on you right away as soon as they hear money. It happens in every movie or TV show. You hear money, and then the bar people just, you figure they're the most friendliest people. They could be even a biker, and they'd be like, "Oh, wow, nice to see you. Yeah, have a drink." And as soon as they hear money, they break the glass and they start going after you. That's exactly what happened in this episode. We got to see Danielle Panabaker do some fight choreography. Not really sure if it was a lot of her, but still, it was actually pretty cool to see her do that as Killer Frost. So that was very impressive. There was even a moment where we got to see her bench press. That was kind of cool too. Hey, listen, if she's doing her own stunts, that's awesome. I mean, the woman literally just had, gave birth a couple of months ago, so that was pretty, maybe like, I think it was like last year she had a child, so that was actually kind of cool to get back to and physical shape. So that was actually pretty cool. So she needs to find information about who's framing her. And then it goes back to the bar guy. We find out that the bar guy has been basically obsessed with Killer Frost / Caitlyn. We get to see Caitlyn get arrested, taking the blame, thinking that, the police thinking that Caitlyn is Killer Frost. Now, the bad guy, doesn't know that Caitlyn and Killer Frost separated. He just knows that, oh yeah, Caitlyn was Killer Frost, that she can transform. So Caitlyn ends up getting arrested. So that was kind of crazy to see poor Caitlyn get arrested, So, yeah, that's... But hey, for Snowberry fans, at least she has another thing in common with Barry. They both got arrested, so there's that. Irish, you better hurry up and catch up, because there's gonna be some Instagram posts about that somewhere. But yeah, and then Frost finds out that this guy has been obsessed with her powers, and he makes these bracelets to become like Frost technical guy. Apparently he has ice powers, but in the form of technology, kind of like Mr. Freeze, but instead of a gun, he has like a bracelet that makes him have the powers. So that was pretty interesting. They end up having a tussle, a fight, and then of course he ends up freezing her face, and then she ends up having to stab her own self just to stab him in the stomach area. She ends up healing. He can't copy that. Apparently he tried to copy her as well to try to get mimic her powers, but he can't do that physically. So that was actually pretty cool. Then Barry shows up at the last minute just to tie him up and bandage him and let the police take him. And of course, at the end of the episode, we see that the police surround the bar that they were fighting in, and they arrest Killer Frost. Killer Frost goes, freely to, try to get Caitlyn out of trouble and get herself committed into prison. So, yep, Killer Frost is now in jail. Now, what does this mean moving forward? Hard to say. But if I had to guess, this is what I would think would happen. Just a guess. I would assume something's going to happen where she might get convicted. Apparently, which, the charges on Killer Frost doesn't really make too sense, because the two people she technically kidnapped, well, technically three if you count Cecile as well. Cecile, is not going to press charges with that, so there's that. And then that girl who's supposed to be the future creator of that Speed Force cannon that Cisco ends up making later on with the whole sabotage thing. We have no idea what happened to her. She could have been blanked out of existence for all we know. So there's that. And of course, Julian, he's not even around anymore. So, the charges are very ridiculous. That, she's kidnapped people and she's attempted murder. But the people that she supposedly tried to kill are not even there on the show anymore. So I find that kind of ridiculous that, those are the bogus charges that she has. But go figure, that's part of the show, I guess. But, yeah. So here's how I think it's going to happen for the next episode. Which, by the way, is on a break now, so it comes back May 4th. But, I believe Killer Frost is going to escape prison. There's going to be a manhunt for her. Typical, stuff. And I think Caitlyn's going to take her place. Yep. I think Caitlyn is actually going to take her place. Now, if they decide to kill one of them, I do believe Caitlyn will die. That's just me thinking that, only because, I do believe that Daniela Panabaker is a good actress. I think she's great. But I just don't see her continuing doing two characters at once. It's very hard for any actor to do that, so I would assume they're gonna get rid of one. And everybody loves Killer Frost, so why not kill Caitlyn? I mean, I don't want Caitlyn to die, but why not kill Caitlyn or get rid of Caitlyn, having her be in jail, sacrificing herself for Frost, and then Frost can, put a wig on and can be Caitlyn again, and it could still be Daniela Panabaker, but she will be playing Frost. But when we don't see her be Frost, she'll be Caitlyn. That way the cops think you're two separate people. Okay, you're Caitlyn, and we got Frost in jail. She could put a wig on and be like, yeah, I'm Frost, ha ha ha. It's just a guess. I really don't know what they're gonna do, but something's gonna happen where one of them might have to go. Maybe none of them will go. I mean, I would be glad that nobody leaves, But if Daniela Pennebaker had to give it a one character, I feel like she would give it of her Caitlyn character. I know, we need her for the science stuff, but we got Chester now, so and Cisco's still there, and Daniela Pennebaker will still be Caitlyn slash Killer Frost. It'll just be more easier for her to focus on just playing Frost. I get it. Maybe she doesn't really want to keep wearing the wig and the costume every single time she has to, go to work. But hey, that's how you do it. So who knows? Who knows? Or maybe they'll give it a Killer Frost and it'll just be Caitlyn again. But I don't know. Something's gonna happen, but we have to wait and see what happens. But hey, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this, and what do you think is gonna happen with Killer Frost and Caitlyn? You think something's gonna happen? You think one of them is gonna go away and the other one's gonna take the place of the other one? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good day.